was, I believe that was a 4-man wipe coming out through the Roshan pit if you count the Tidehunter. That's gonna make it a 2 to 11 now.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Resurgence. They do get a pretty good Roche fight. It's not the best coming out from them. They steal that Aegis, but it's not in here they really want to steal that Aegis on. And you still lose a lot. You lost your Life Stealer in the middle of all of that fighting. Your Pos 1 just kind of drops dead. And Amplify, again, just finds every single thing they need from there, except for the Aegis. So you are still stuck in a pretty rough spot as Resurgence. You still need to find that perfect team fight. We didn't even see the black hole coming out from BDZ. There was no need for it. So he's just going to be holding on to that. He's going to have that tool the next time a team fight breaks out. And that could be a major issue for Resurgence as, you know, if he jumps that back line with his Blink, just catches out the Rubik and the Winter Wyvern, I think you'd be satisfied enough if you force the Ravage out to cancel. Like, as long as you catch those two supports first.
Oh, certainly so. Looks like he will be going into the Lincoln Spear as well next, so BDZ going to be trying to avoid that Spell Steal or the Winter's Curse. It's going to be rather annoying for Resurgence to try and deal with in the middle of a team fight. Of course, if he opts for that BKB as well, then you've just got no way to cancel it until that BKB or Lincoln's is broken. Now the mid lane pushed back in from the side of Amplify. They're going to start roaming towards that Radiant jungle. No heroes here, but there is a T2 tower that is still left up at the top lane, and they are going to go and try and clear that up.
I foresee the Radiant's top tower.
I see a Dagon coming up for LJ on the Pugna, but how much use do you think he'll get out of that? I mean, they aren't far ahead at all. I mean, they're behind right now. Generally, the Dagon is something you'd see when they're kind of ahead to really keep up the momentum. But in this case, I'm not 100% sure on that. In fact, Welp, he's been caught out now. Ryo has the Roar. He waited out the Rage, and now Jo comes in with the follow-up Ice Path, it looks like. He does find it. Midnight Pulse as well, and Carl's there to follow up, and they do find the kill.
Rather unfortunate, like, you know, he's trying to do the right thing here. He's going on the parts of the map where he knows the enemy heroes aren't at. He just gets spotted out. One wrong move, unlucky for him, and he gets punished for trying to work the map to his advantage. So he's not going to be around, unfortunately enough, and that is, again, another clean pickup for Amplify. They might find one more.
Yeah, Ponlo in a bit of an awkward position himself. The Malithus was there. Now the Ice Path comes in from Jo once again. That's going to make it a 2 to 13 now. 24 minutes in.
Trees whisper of a strategy.
Still, Resurgence do manage to hold on to the game, of course. They aren't anywhere near out of it, but it is starting to look pretty darn grim for them. As that tier 2 mid tower going to be going down as well, and that's the final outer tower that they have left. There will be no defense for it either.
Losing its foundation.
Yeah, this is worrisome for the side of Resurgence. They've lost the entire map. Their draft really is focused around counterplay, and that's the one issue, right? They're not drafting to their strengths. They're drafting to the weakness of Amplify, but, you know, when that team fight, when the black holes aren't coming out from PDZ, the counter picks of the Rubik and Winter Wyvern don't seem to be helping your cause at all. They're just kind of dead weight. Whereas Amplify, sure, but at that black hole, the Enigma is not doing his part in team fights too much, but he still has the Eidolons, he still has the Malefice, and he still has that Midnight Pulse to spread the damage around. So he's still doing something, whereas your draft, again, is riding around that concept of counterplay, which isn't happening because Amplify is just not playing. They really aren't just not playing around that black hole too much.
Definitely aren't. There's one thing Underlords has taught me, John, is that Midnight Pulse is overpowered. It always should be committed in those team fights, and it has been doing a lot of damage, especially to that life stealer. Well, he does smoke up with his team now. Death kind of breaks his own smoke to D-Ward. So they kind of give up on this smoke rotation. Still had a bit of time left, but just looked like they had no idea where they were going with it. So Resurgence perhaps going to be just trying to set up for the high ground defense that's here to come sooner or later. I imagine Amplify probably going to wait for the next Roshan as well before they do opt to go for that high ground attempt. And so you do have a bit of downtime for Resurgence to try and get that farm up and make all the difference in the next team fight. And Welp certainly has been doing that on the Lifestealer now. He does finish up the Sergeant Yasha. Still though, again, Welp is the only one that's really leading the charge for his team. Sure, you've got the Pugna there, but he really doesn't seem to have the survivability right now in those team fights to actually last long enough. And Welp, again, is just getting kited around and static linked immediately, so there's really not much he can do.
It's just down to that drafting style. Again, they went for a draft that isn't active, it's reactive. And there's nothing to react to. Amplify is just not doing what you want them to do with this lineup. They're not forcing out team fights, they're split pushing. They're not dropping the black holes, they're just stunning you up and finding every single target they want. They're not even static linking the lifestealer in these big team fights. You know, they're just not having to do that. And when they're not doing that, you can't counterplay as well. Your lineup is made specifically to counteract that black hole initiation, which just hasn't happened. It's made to counteract the Razor linking your lifestealer every single time, which still hasn't happened as well. So again, it's just Resurgence not managing to work this draft out quite well. They need to find a way to force that out from Amplify. They need to find space in the map somehow. Perhaps re-itemize on LJSL. I don't think the Dagon's doing him any favors. Like, sure, he could build up to Dagon 5. That's 800 damage. Great. Doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. You have the pipe up on Razor as well, so a lot of his damage is mitigated already.
Certainly is. Amplify.
I mean, you take a look at Det's item buildup as well. He has a Desolator. He's going for a Crystallis into a Daedalus and a Medallion at some point. So he's going all in on that Gush minus armor, which is interesting, but this is really not the typical Tide build, and it does tell you about the state of the times. They know they lack damage. They know they lack physical damage. The Pugna can't build that way, but the Tide kind of can.
With that Anchor Smash, he can dish out a hell of a lot. Mid lane though, Jo gonna be in trouble. BDZ is around the area and they can't even take out the Jakiro at this rate. Of course, they do opt to back out
Top tower is under
in
attack.
case he had support behind him, which he did. So it was actually good back there from Resurgence, but not great signs if it's this hard to kill a Jakiro. At the very least, again, Amplify are going to take their sweet time. The Roshan is still not up, and we'll find out in about 5 seconds when it will be up. It looks like a 2.5 minute timer on the Roshan, so another 2.5 minutes to try and get that farm up as much as possible. Resurgence, I don't think they can allow the side of Amplify to just go for that Roshan by themselves. I don't think you can afford to wait for the high ground defense. I think you have to go for that Roshan counter straight away. Otherwise, you're fighting to an Aegis cheese with a lineup that you're 5k net worth behind already in. It's just not going to be the greatest of high ground defenses. I don't see it.
It definitely isn't going to be. A nice scan does spot out that rotation from Amplify, but Death is still in the area. Pops the smoke.
30-minute bounty rune. He'll blink out just in the nick of time. Meanwhile, mid lane, Ryo, he does end up finding once again Insidious on that Winter Wyvern. The poor man, he's just been trying to support his team, John, but he gets roared every time they see him.
He's not had a good time. Like, 0 to 5, 1 assist. It's just rough, right? You only have 2 kills on Resurgence anyway. We're at 30 minutes anyway. It's stuck at 2 to 14. This lineup from Resurgence again just slowly dropping off. Perhaps Death's carry. Oh god, he spotted out.
Yeah,
He's home.
He thought about, I swear he thought about that line black hole, but definitely was better off just leaving it. Ponlo goes down on the east side jungle of the Dire. Carl will just find him on the Rubik and easily takes him out. That'll make it a 2 to 15 now. Roshan will be spawning up in about 1 minute from now as well. At the very least, you do have a Basher coming out now on Whelp, so that's another item on the Lifestealer. Is it going to be enough? Is going to be a completely different story.
I mean, the one thing you could be waiting for if you are Resurgence is maybe level 25s coming out. Like the level 25 on Lifestealer is pretty big. That rage duration does tend to turn games around. They do smoke up. Perhaps they can get a good jump here on a bot. That's going to be
Nice. Death trying to scout out, see if anyone's there. They'll find Carl. That's another nice target if they want it. And Carl kind of just hanging around the area, but not really running across the river, although now he does, but they're not in position to jump him. You've also got to be wary, right? Carl, he does have that 10-second BKB charge, so you don't want to waste that Ravage jumping in. He just BKBs up and avoids everything anyway. So again, both teams going to slow play this a bit. Roshan is completely up now, and I believe it was scouted by Amplify. Of course, the Beastmaster Hawk was in the Roshan pit. But they will hold out for the moment. They're not going to rush there.
They infest on death again.
They're going to jump in a bat. They
Okay.
pick up the regeneration rune on a bat, and well, the skill was very nice from a bat preemptively being used up, and yeah, they just won't follow up on it. Carl now going to move in. They found Ponlo once again on the Rubik. He does Glimmer Cape, but he is still going to end up dying. And perhaps with that Rubik down, at least try and force the buyback, go into that Roshan pit, and force a fight here with Resurgence.
Yeah, it's going to be fairly straightforward for Amplify again. They don't have the Infest Bomb up for another 15 seconds from Whelp, so they're going to have to walk in slowly. They do have the tool. I'm sure Amplify is aware, though.
They're aware. They do buy back. They are making their way in. They do smoke up. Well, he hasn't infested, but they're going to jump in. A nice Ravage goes out. Is it enough, though? The Ice Path was dropped the bat. He gets the Omni off as well. The Roshan falling low, and the Aegis is picked up by Carl. Meanwhile, they will end up losing BDZ at the very least, and now the Winter's Curse comes out. Ryo immediately roaring up that Winter Wyvern, and Sidious going to end up dropping. Meanwhile, they do end up losing LJ as well on the Pugma. Cold Embrace not going to save this Winter Wyvern. He goes down. It's a 3-for-1 trade. A buyback comes out from BDZ, but it looks like they might even find Whelp. He has the Black Hole available. He just doesn't have the blink up right now. He needs another 8 seconds. But it looks like he'll hold on to the Black Hole, and they'll start running down mid lane instead.
Yeah, this is going to be a good opening for them to take that high ground. They have the editing as well. They force the buybacks from this course, but there's no Winter's Curse for 40 seconds. There's no Ravage for 100.
They require time.
Yeah, I don't blame Amplify. They just keep going. There's no need to back off. At least get the tier 3 tower. And now Carl, he still has the Aegis, and we'll go to the front lines to try and take down that Nether Ward. Whelp though going to jump in with death, though it's not enough. The static link is there. Now a bat though, he's going to be in trouble. He doesn't have a way out though. He's going to man fight this as best as he can. He does go down, and they've lost the Aegis as well on Carl. BDZ, he still has the Black Hole available, but he doesn't commit it. Carl will BKB up, and actually catches the TP off. They do get the back up now on the Razor. Definitely could be a bait. Death still moving on to Carl. They're going to try and take down that Enigma, but there's the Midnight Pulse, and now they do jump in with the Roar straight on that Life Stealer. Meanwhile, LJ falling very low on the Pugna. He doesn't want to die back right now, but he has no choice in the matter. Does go down, and the bait was definitely lane. Now Insidious, of course, their favorite target. Ryo going to go for him, though. No. Carl going to be controlled up. A nice Roar still there from the Rubik for Death. Can he get the job done with Whelp? Not quite. The Black Hole does come out. Ponlo, though, he did seal it, and he will turn it around on BDZ and Carl. And so they do end up going way too far on the side of Amplify. They find Jo as well on the Jakiro. And you kind of saw it coming. The Black Hole was nice from BDZ, but there was a Rubik standing on top of the cliff waiting for the perfect moment. He knew it was coming out. And Amplify, if they had backed off about 30 seconds earlier, John, they would have been very happy, but now they just gave a 5k gold swing away.
Yeah, that's massive for Resurgence. Sure, they had to commit a couple of buybacks for that, but that was what you were waiting for this entire time. And that's where the counterplay, the reactive draft starts coming into play. They managed to get that ideal situation for the draft. They steal that Black Hole, they turn it around, they find some good kills, they get the Aegis as well. They're really happy. They lost the tier 3, but that's it. Their barracks are fairly safe. They managed to take a tier 2 as well, and suddenly it's feeling a bit more even despite the kill board not saying so. 7-20 now, 36 minutes in, 4k lead for Amplify, and they really lost some momentum from that. You saw BDZ, he was trying to be patient. He waited a very long time to get that Black Hole off. He had his BKB running while he was just walking around finding the perfect position. And they saw that Rubik earlier. They just saw him down there and they knew he walked up. They still went for that Black Hole. It's just a strange decision coming out. Perhaps they thought that the stolen Black Hole wouldn't be a factor, but it's always going to be a factor in those tight spots, and it does cost them in the end. Cost them massively.
It certainly does. With that, you look at that win probability, it was about that 80% mark, maybe even further for the side of Amplify, but now going below that 75% mark. In fact, they are at that 70% point now, so Amplify still in the lead, definitely by far, but a couple more moments like that and suddenly Resurgence are going to look a lot more scary. Whelp has really started growing quite a lot on this lifesteal. Top of the net worth board once again, 22k. He has the AC up, he has the Basher up, and he's going into that that Abyssal Blade up next. I suppose we'll see, because you know Amplify, they're probably not going to go for another high ground attempt until they have another Aegis. Of course, Resurgence not looking to make it that easy, though. They will probably try to go for another steal attempt. I do wonder, like, how much longer can Resurgence drag this out? Because it does start to feel like the later this goes, perhaps the better the chances get for Resurgence.
It does feel that way. Again, when you take a look at that Lifestealer, when he hits his 25, that's +2, those +2 seconds on Rage. We've seen that make all the difference in these team fights. Like, even if he pops it and gets roared in the end, he's gonna have 4 extra seconds where he's still magic immune. And that's gonna be massive. That's enough time for him to get the Infest off, if ever. That's enough time for him to really get work done with his hero, and that is going to be a bit of a worry for Amplify. They're going to have to find a way to keep that control on the Lifestealer without having anything big cancelled out. So you don't want that black hole being stolen again. You don't want it being blocked out by the Winter's Curse. You still don't have that Lincoln Sphere on BDZ. He is trying to work his way towards it, but the gold isn't really coming in as much. He does have that talent up. He's had it for a while, it's still not quite there, and I don't think you're going to be comfy getting that black hole off without that Lincolns at this point in the game.
Resurgence now, going to group up and go for a smoke. The Ice Scan is there, and they're actually going to walk into it. In fact, no, that was a Radiant Scan coming out, so they're fine. Carl, Ponlo going to run into him, and now the black hole, although he does completely whiff it, and now they jump in. Ryo goes straight after the Wyvern once again, though she does get below that hill. Now BDZ, he can actually use his black hole, but he's still scared it'll get stolen. At the very least, it'll be on cooldown for Ponlo. They do end up finding LJ on the Pugna. That was a bit of a shame from Ponlo. He was it just felt like a centimeter off getting Carl within it. Even if he had, though, you had Ryo there to cancel off with the roar anyway.
Yeah, that was fairly close. He does swap out the black hole as well. Ponlo opted to steal the plasma field so he can get a push going for himself elsewhere. But that was a bit of a waste. He had that black hole, he was just waiting for its cooldown to be off. He tries to use it, doesn't work out, and that's an opening that Amplify can kind of abuse. They still are probably just going to wait for that Lincoln Sphere. So the gold is almost there for BDZ. I believe he's just about 300 gold off, it looks like. And once that's up, he is going to be a bit more confident. You only really need to catch one of the supports in, and it's either going to be the Winter Wyvern or the Rubik. I think you want that Winter Wyvern more, simply because the Winter's Curse is much bigger, at least in terms of really interrupting the flow of a fight. The Rubik you can kind of play around with, and wow, Ponlo just goes deep trying to split push.
Yeah, and he will get away with it as well. He TP's out just in the nick of time. Does force out those rotations from the side of Amplify. Meanwhile, Ryo preemptively getting ready for a Roshan attempt, though it isn't at least going to be 45 seconds from now. That's just to find out when it does respawn. Meanwhile, John, Death on the Tidehunter starting to get pretty big. He has the Daedalus up now, so those crits going to be doing a lot more damage.
He got the plus 250 damage talent as well. So
you can't underestimate it, John. With the Anchor Smash, it is a lot of damage.
That is ridiculous. This might actually be it. This might actually be the answer to Resurgence's woes. Again, they lack damage. They just really lack the damage physically on the Lifestealer even. But with Death building up this way, I think this is all they need. He does need a bit more durability. It doesn't feel like he is tanky enough. But the damage is definitely there for Resurgence now. They just need to find that opportunity to use that damage.
We've got another 2-minute respawn time on the Roshan now. Amplify gonna start pushing in the mid lane. Jo, Ice Path does not connect onto Whelp. So they'll back off once again. They can't find an easy pick. Oh, Ponlo once again just pushing lanes by himself on the Rubik and being really frustrating. It's not too often you see a Rubik push out lanes this often to this efficiency, but he has really been doing a great job. And this will probably force Amplify again to back off and defend their own tier 3 tower down at the bot lane.
It's down to that stolen plasma field that just really allows him to push out these lanes quite effectively, and he has been making good work of that. Just really, really good work. He doesn't even have any way of switching out these lanes quite well. He has to walk across the map or TP to a fairly far spot, but he has been forcing reactions out from Amplify, and that just means Amplify can't do every single thing they want. They always have to send a support back, clear out the waves, and Ponlo just keeps doing this as well. It does keep us in that stalemate a bit longer, but again, Resurgence is starting to be at that point where you're kind of worried about Amplify. You have 25 on Death, you have 25 on Whelp as well. So they've got the tools they need to really take control in these fights. You don't even have 25 yet on Abbat for Amplify's side, so his last talent isn't up yet. The Omni slash or HP talent's not going to be there for a bit longer, still a fair bit away in terms of EXP. And it's just a bit of a waiting game. It really is. They've just really slowed down. No one wants to commit anything. They're pretty happy just farming for 42 minutes. 7 to 21, 9k net worth lead. I have to tell you, Mike, this doesn't feel like a Southeast Asian game.
No, it certainly doesn't, John. Win probability, though, is still sitting around 76% for Amplify. So definitely feeling confident in this Dire's side, at least for the moment. They do have a 9k net worth lead as well, and the Roshan is about to respawn in about 5 seconds, and they are in position to go ahead and take it. Jayo looks like he'll be there to make sure that bot lane doesn't push in any further, so they can take that Roshan in peace. Though they haven't really scattered it out yet. And again, Resurgence, they can't really afford to just allow it to go down. So you'd expect an immediate rotation to that Roshan pit if they see Amplify missing. Carl, one more final push in the mid lane before he does rotate over there as well. Abat's already gotten started on that jug, and that is going to be the Aghanim's upgrade coming out on the Roshan as well. Who do you give it to, though, you wonder? Like, do you give it to the Beastmaster? Do you just give it to the jug?
I'd say Jug is one of the things. Again, just having that Omni slash availability up is going to be big. Oh, they popped the Lincolnson. BDZ, BKBs.
That's not good news. That was his 10-second charge. In fact, it was his 9-second, and now the Ravage comes in. They didn't get BDZ, but they found Ryo, and now Bat still BKB'd himself. Going to go for the Omni Slate on that lifesteal. The damage isn't there. Not quite. He is being healed up by LJ. Well, still being chased down, though. He really wants that kill. Bat going to spin his way to win. He will get LJ, and now Whelp's still going to be in a lot of trouble on this lifesteal. The nice lift comes out. BDZ won't know where the lifestealer went. We'll leave him be. They'll move back into the Roshan pit. Even a regeneration rune going to be there for a Bat. So I wonder, do Resurgence make it in time to defend this Roshan once again? It looks like the answer is probably going to be a no.
They don't have a Ravage up. It's going to be a hard defense. Even a Winter's Curse is down for at least half a minute. So you're going to have to give away this rush. It's a good attempt. 1-for-1 trade, but still not what you want. And you do see the tools being picked up now by the side of Amplify. Although, well,
does use the Abyssal. Carl just static linking his way. Now Shiver's Guard as well as the Plasma Thorn. They do find the Winter Wyvern and a Bat. We'll go ahead and take him out. Meanwhile, Carl still making the chase onto the Lifestealer, though he's fine. So a 14k net worth lead now. A Bat will be the one with the Aegis and the cheese for that matter. The INTERCEPTOR though is going to be on nobody right now. I don't see the upgrade.
It's
it's on the Razor. Never mind. Carl's got it.
Yeah. So he's going to be able to push a bit harder, of course, with his ultimate up. And they do manage to take the first racks in 46 minutes in. 8 to 23. They forced the buyback from the Winter Wyvern as well. Insidious, it's a bit too late, but it does look like they do force the push back from Amplify. They're not going to commit as hard, or will they?
They'll go up top, though. Ponlo will start off with the lift, and now Whelp going to move in as well. Abyssal Blade is there, but BKB comes up, but the bashes aren't going to be very nice to Carl, but he'll turn around with the static link. At the very least, you know the BKB's down. Carl does have a cheese anyway, though, and a Satanic for that matter. They are going to go after that melee barracks in the mid lane, it looks like, though. Carl needs some help. The rest of his team kind of backing off a bit. BDZ actually going to pick up a Shadow Blade now. So feeling like he really needs to sneak his way in for those black holes. I suppose that is fair enough.
It definitely is. He's had a hard time finding those ideal targets, and it's down to Resurgence's pretty good spacing. In these team fights, they certainly have spread himself out quite well, especially with their supports. So he's always wondered about the backline. He hasn't really dropped too many black holes. I think he's only dropped 2 or 3 over the course of the game. And that's, again, down to the threat coming out from Resurgence. So pretty well played from them to force that kind of movement out. And it does take away a lot of the strength in the team fights for Amplify. You do start to wonder again, the Ravage is up for Resurgence. They have the damage on the Tide. Do they go outside their base or just wait for the high ground?
I mean, they're 24k net worth behind, though. Like, I think that's the main problem, right? Is like, you've got all this farm on the Lifestealer, but that's really it. Every other core on Amplify is so much more farmed than anyone else on the map. They're going to start moving in once again, Amplify. Ryo has the Roar, looking for a target. Warp would be a very nice one to get, but they've got to be careful of that Winter's Curse, and Ponlo does have the Aghanim, so he can steal the Black Hole quite quickly, quite often. Carl, just with the ulti, trying to get the job done. Meanwhile, a Bat did get stunned up by Whelp, though. He does just back off. Now Carl going to move his way in. Again, they do have Ravage available on Death, though he does hold out for the moment. Now Carl, open wounds are there. They jump in with the Anchor Smash. The BKB and Cheese is being committed. An Omni Slash on Insidious, but he had the Decrepify placed on him, and now the Roar comes out as well. They really don't like this Wyvern, though another Decrepify comes out. This time around, a Bat will spin. Meanwhile, Carl is going to man fight up against Wolf, but here comes Death. He does get the Ravage off as well. You do have BDZ in the backlines to help out if necessary. He does have the Black Hole, but he still doesn't commit it. They do get Carl on the Razor, and now they'll find another in Ryo on the Beastmaster. You see a Bat kind of been left alone. He'll go for the spin TP play and should make it out. BDZ, though, not going to be so lucky. He does get Ice Path by Ponlo, and
oh, God.
3k crit. Death will find a triple kill. And I told you, John, don't laugh at this build. It does work.
It does work. It's still funny. I mean, that's not, if you don't think that a 1.3k crit coming out from Anchor Smash is hilarious, then I think you have to get yourself checked. But this is really starting to work in favor of Resurgence. That hesitation from BDZ is costing them every single time. He's worried about that stolen Black Hole, and even if it doesn't come out, it's still working out for Resurgence. They're not stealing that Black Hole, but the fights for Amplify are falling apart. You have the tools now in Resurgence again to take these fights, and 11 to 23, 15k net worth lead for Amplify. It feels like it's all for naught when your Enigma is just not doing anything. When 21k of that net worth on your team is just not doing any work right now.
Well, they're going to go after that T3 tower in the mid lane, and Warp will easily claim it, and now the Racks as well. They do take these rather quick, and the side of Amplify just not willing to buy back right now. Bat gonna jump in by himself, doesn't have the Omni and does get bashed. Still, the Abyssal is available, and Warp, if he wants to commit it, and now the Ice Path, he's in trouble. He's gone. He does have buyback available, though Jo also gonna be in trouble. Is anyone gonna buy back? Jo will. Now a Bat will also commit his own buyback, and that may force back the side of Resurgence. Though suddenly, John, they were 24k ahead. Now only 6k ahead on the side of Amplify. That is a hell of a lot of gold going to the way of Resurgence. And that problem they had before with that net worth just suddenly gone.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you have really tapered off now as Amplify. You're pretty much 6, hell, even 7 slotted on Carl. He has no real upward mobility anymore, except maybe swapping out that Sanjin Yasha or even swapping out his boots. Here, Juggernaut as well. He still has to finish that Butterfly up. Fairly close to it. So once that's up, he's probably going to be slotted up as well, unless he's going to look to exchange his exchange his phase boots, or pick up an Aghanims for himself and eat that, synthesize it for himself, buff himself up with it. That could be something that helps them out as well. They did go for the 600 HP talent on a bot. So, even with that Ags, you're not going to see as much coming out from that Omni Slash, unfortunately enough. But, this does give him the chance to man fight a bit more. It's just that at this point, the Lifestealer, and especially the Tidehunter, feel like they man fight much better. They just do a lot more damage than the Jug. They've scaled up a bit more. I mean, right now, a bot just does 157 plus 116, so around 270 damage at best. And it just doesn't compare, especially when you look at Death, and he does around 534 damage per right click. He has to refresh now as well, so all the control in the world is now on Resurgence's side, and they're not afraid to use it.
Yeah,
whereas Amplify, they have that black hole, they can't use it.
They don't smoke up yet on the side of Resurgence. They hold out. In fact, they don't even have a smoke available right now. Still, the Infest did come out onto Death, so he's just going to sit in the watermelon, just chill out a bit. Meanwhile, Amplify going to be on the opposite side of the map, just smoked up themselves, but not going to really be able to find anything. Well, he'll just go ahead, claim that top shrine on the Dire side. I mean, the thing is, again, Resurgence are in the position now where they just want to fight. So they don't really mind putting themselves out there and giving vision to the way of Amplify. But they will go down and defend that bot lane. Carl, gotta be careful, he does get open winded up. Not much damage coming out though. Carl does have a lot of armor there on the Razor. Still, he should be able to get the tier 3, but now an Ice Path comes in. He does have BKB available though, and he won't pop it quite yet. Abad as well did just pick up a double damage rune. It is still got a fair bit of time on it. Does he make use of it though? Carl, it's caught out again by the Ice Path, but he'll be okay. So both teams just waiting for the other to make a mistake or make a move. Top lane is being pushed in just by the creep wave, so they're going to start hitting up on the Raxes soon. Meanwhile, Roshan's back up once again. So this is the 4th Roshan of the game now. You have that refresher shard as well as the Aghanim's upgrade coming out. Though Amplify, they do have to go back and defend a bit before they do opt to go for that Roshan, so a bat will take care of that. But now you've given Resurgence a chance to actually go into that Roshan pit first, and they may just do it.
Yeah, again, they have the tools to do so. They pretty much have great vision up as well. You don't really have any wards from Amplify watching this area. So it does look like they will find that Rosh. Don't commit to it just yet. They are playing a bit safe. And again, we are stuck in a pretty much a mirror sort of stalemate. Mid lane, racks are gone. Top, tier 3 gone for Amplify and no.
They find Ponlo bot lane. No, he does have buyback available. Still a long respawn time for him. I suppose this does open up the Roshan now, and you can force out the buyback from Ponlo. But it looks like they aren't even aware on the side of Amplify the Roshan's up again. They haven't really scouted it out yet. Only Resurgence are aware of this. So they're going to try and go for the bot Raxes now.
Radiant's bottom barracks sense.
Carl, pretty darn tanky. We'll get the range, although Ravage does go in the back line. They burst down Ryo, and now they go for more. They are taking down JO pretty darn fast, and there's the double Ravage coming out. Abat's still going to be okay with that BKB, but Whelp is just bashing through it. Now Carl just trying to get his way in. Black Hole is there. He finds both of them. The Rubik is in there. Can they burst them down? Omni Slash comes out. They'll get 2, but it's not going to be quite enough yet. They'll get another in the Pugna. He'll buy back immediately, as well as that Titan. Now Carl just going to magpie Whelp by himself. He does have the Satanic, but he gets bashed as soon as he commits it, and now Carl gonna end up going down. Can they find any more? Not quite. Both of them do back off on the side of Amplify. There was a buyback coming up from Ryo on the Beastmaster. Meanwhile, BDZ actually got the Refresher Orb on himself as well now. And that did end up being a 3-for-3 trade, though 3 buybacks were expended on the side of Resurgence, and you did have a dieback on the Rubik. Ryo?
Ryo.
Won't get scouted out, though he doesn't have that invis any longer. Oh, he runs straight into Insidious. There's a lot of heroes, but he BKBs up. Abat jumps in as well after the Pugma. This doesn't look great, though. BZ does find a massive black hole. He's found 3 of them in there. They get LSLJSL, and they get Death and Whelp. And so I thought that was a bad initiation coming up from Ryo, John, but he did have help in the background, and now, well, there's only 1 buyback left, and that's in Whelp. He does commit it straight away, but you're going 2 versus 3 right now. Can you fight into Abat and Carl? And of course BDZ, who's not in the actual Radiant base right now. Meanwhile, Whelp
Radiant's
running to the secret
courier
shop,
has been slain.
gonna buy a Divine Rapier and TP
Oh.
back, so he's going all in.
Oh, boy.
So straight on a bat, go on that jug though. Bissell comes out from a bat as well. He'll spin away. Now Carl gonna turn around though. Winter's Curse does come out. BDZ has no way to control Whelp apart from that Malefice. So now a bat jumps back in. That
Oh,
Divine
no.
Rapier does nothing and it's on the deck. A bat picks it up and that's gonna be a GG. No buyback available for the Life Stealer and Amplify. They do take it 57 minutes into this game.
Look, it was a long run. It was very conservative play from it. It just took one team fight to really decide that. That was some bravery at the end for Amplify, some bravery from BDC. That's all they needed to really have it happen. Just jump in with a black hole.